Hello, and welcome to Profiles. I'm your host, Paulette Payne. It is such a thrill to bring you stories about people who have taken the professional path less traveled and followed their passions. So often we neglect our dreams because we fear the unknown or we concern about what others may think, but not today's guests. They are following their passions, serving others, and changing lives in the process. My first guest has a passion for mothers and babies and has answered her calling to help families experience the joy of childbirth. Stephanie Bangulin of Gentle Journeys Birthing joins us to talk about the art of being a doula and the birthing technique Hypnobabies. Stephanie, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Paulette.
So Stephanie, tell us, what is a doula and how does this practice differ from the traditional OB doctor or a midwife?
Well, a doula is somebody who assists a family through their birthing time. We do only emotional and physical support, no medical support whatsoever. I'm not a doctor, I don't claim to be one. So a doula's role is there to support a mom emotionally, physically, and intellectually as well.
Okay, so what would you tell a woman who is considering hiring a doula, particularly those who fear pain like I do? What would you tell her about that experience and what to expect?
Well, that question kind of embodies a couple questions in there. As far as what to tell a woman who's considering hiring a doula, how often have you been through birth? How many times have you seen a natural birth? I've been doing this for 5 years, and there's some doulas out there that have been doing it for 20 or 30 years who've seen lots of different births and who know what normal is and know what different, how to assist moms in different ways. So if when you're going through a birth, it's kind of like a birth coach. You know, like, would you go into a wrestling match without a coach, without somebody there saying, okay, try this and do this and try this? So that's similar to the role of a doula. There's a lot of education that goes on ahead of time. So if you choose to take a childbirth class or if you choose not to, a doula can educate you on what the normal birthing process is. It can help you with birth plans, help you with figure out what the options are and that you do have options, which a lot of parents don't even realize. And then we move on into the what if I'm afraid of pain? Right. So that's a whole nother question. To me, education is power. How can I get you through that fear? As we talk about it, I educate you on what's normal. What are some options out there? Like you mentioned, I teach a class called Hypnobabies, Hypnosis for Childbirth, where we're one of the few classes out there that believes that pain is not an integral part of the process, so you don't have to have pain. Some of the other childbirth classes out there, which are great classes for some people, they teach you how to deal with pain and how some of the powerful ways that you can work through the process. So as a doula, I would talk to you and see what rings true for you and what your path is. It's not necessarily about me. It's not my birth. Right. It's your birth. And so how can I assist you on that journey?
So it's a sense of empowering the woman.
Definitely.
And to fully engage in this experience.
Definitely.
So what are the benefits, short-term and long-term, if a woman chooses to hire a doula to help facilitate the birthing process?
Well, the statistics say that women who hire a doula have a 25% shorter labor. They have a 60% reduction in C-section rates and a 40% reduction in the use of Pitocin, which is artificial oxytocin. So those are the during the birth benefits. As far as long-term benefits, it goes, you feel more empowered. You feel like you've owned your birth. There's a whole set of women out there that are now seeking therapy for birth trauma.
Oh, wow.
Because they feel like they've been violated. They felt like the birth was out of their control. And so in hiring a doula, regardless of which path your birth takes, you feel like you made those decisions. And because I don't know what decisions are right for you, only you're the one that can know the decisions that are right for you in that moment. We do a lot of education about it ahead of time and know the pros and the cons of a lot of the common interventions that can come up. And there is a certain fluidity to birth.
Right, yeah.
So,
you allow it to happen normally.
Yeah.
Naturally, as it should.
Yes.
So I understand you are the founder and owner of Gentle Journeys.
Yes.
How did this journey start for you?
Well, it actually started with my own journey and the birth of my son. I have 2 kids, and so when I got pregnant, we had a difficult time getting pregnant with our son. And so it was probably a 2-year process in there. And so somewhere in the process, I wrote down my bucket list. I'm like, well, if I can't get pregnant, these are all of the other things that I want to do in my life sometime. And I think it was a short list. It was like 10 things. And somewhere on there, I wrote I wanted to be a childbirth educator. And at the time, I was my partner and I owned a graphic design and screen printing company. And I have no clue where it came from. It was, as my hand was writing, it was just writing childbirth educator. I hadn't thought about it at all before. And I just kind of felt like, well, whatever. If it comes about, it comes about. So finally got pregnant with our son. Did all of the first-time parenting stuff. We researched everything and looked up all these classes and decided what care provider we wanted, and decided on a hypnosis type class because there were no Hypnobabies instructors in the area. Had a great class, ended up having a great birth. I always say I wouldn't go back and do it again, but I wouldn't change it because it doesn't do any good to go back and change it, and it's what made me who I am.
Right.
So had a great birth, and then after he was born, I was just I was doing some research, and I just felt like there had to be more. There had to be more information out there because I just didn't feel like we got enough. And so I think he was about 6 months old, and I got an email from Hypnobabies saying they were having a training in Tennessee, which they're based out of California, and it was in the gut of my stomach. I knew I had to go to this training, and I had to bring it here to Atlanta. So it was not something that I could have planned at all.
Right.
It was a very natural path for me. And then once I became a Hypnobabies instructor, I knew that I needed to become a doula as well to support moms during their birth, so that I could help them in the moment as well.
And you know, that's very typical of following your passion. And sometimes following our passion leads to non-traditional things, but it takes courage, you know, to seek and pursue that. So as far as the Hypnobabies is concerned, what is that, and how does it benefit the mother?
Well, Hypnobabies, hypnosis for childbirth, is a method of preparing for childbirth, where we use medical hypnoanesthesia techniques, where we focus on empowering women to make the best decisions for them. We teach them. It's the only class out there that teaches. It's a full childbirth education class, so we teach the stages of birthing, we teach diet, nutrition, and all of those things as well. And we also incorporate the hypnosis aspect of it. So we literally reprogram your brain to accept the fact that childbirth doesn't have to be painful, nor will it be painful for you. It will be, you'll feel things, it just won't hurt. So a lot of the times, birth is can be very intense, and first-time moms have never experienced that before. So the only word that they know to associate that with is pain. It's intensity, coupled with pressure that they've never felt before. And so we rephrase that and say it doesn't have to hurt. And here are some tools. We create hypnoanesthesia throughout your body, so that you can be up, walking around, moving, getting into those positions that feel good to you, and still be in hypnosis and still have that anesthesia throughout your whole body.
So the woman then becomes an active participant in this process.
Yes.
From what I have researched, it appears that women hiring a doula is becoming more trendy or more commonplace, but it's still not the traditional or viewed as a traditional birthing practice. Why do you think that is, and what would account for perhaps the statistics increasing in that area?
Well, if you think about it, having a birth attendant is very traditional. Go back years and years and years, I mean centuries, and women were always attended by women. And then in the United States, we reached the Industrial Revolution, where doctors took birth, and they took control of birth and said, it's okay, you can't handle this, so let's help you. And so there was this big shift where women were literally strapped to tables and left in a room to birth by themselves. And then women were like, no, 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 this sucks. I need to do something else. I'm going to take back my birth. And so then they started getting their husbands coming in. And then they started realizing, wait, there's women who have done this before that can come help me do this. And so it's just, I think it's a whole movement of women taking back their power, taking back their birth.
And that is power in and of itself.
It is.
Power in and of itself. Well, you've brought a baby with you.
I did. This is my little...
What is this, what do you do with these tools to educate your students?
This is just my little Cabbage Patch Kit that I use in my childbirth class. I like to show moms, let's get in touch with your baby now. What position is your baby in? And let's see. And we talk about ideal fetal positioning. We talk about the process, the movements that baby needs to go through to come down and out through the birth canal. Babies just don't come out. There's so much in there that's involved that baby does and mom does. And we wonder why we have to move around during birth. It's like a lock and a key, the baby's head fitting into the pelvis. There's no one set, there's the cardinal movements that babies go through, but each baby and each mama is different. And so the more mom moves, the more babies can move. And understanding that babies, they turn and they rotate and they flex their heads, and it's very much a dance that moms and babies do. And so I use my little Cabbage Patch Kit doll to kind of illustrate how babies move. And I use this one when I talk about breastfeeding, and we can put baby in this position. And this is my one of my standard tools that I use during class, because this is the goal. Yeah. We are going to have one of these in our arms, so let's get used to this.
That's really fascinating, truly fascinating, and it echoes even more the beauty of birthing and the beauty of that process. What are some long-term advantages? Because I know some of the research reveals that there are advantages to women who have the traditional birthing experience in the hospital as opposed to one who hires a doula. What are some of those long-term benefits?
Like we talked about earlier, a long-term benefit of hiring a doula is the empowerment you feel. Is the calm that you feel during the birthing process, the knowing that you're the ones making the decision and not a doctor coming in and say, okay, we're going to do this and we're going to do this and we're going to do this, and knowing that it is your choice, and just having that information and the physical support as well of a doula.
And research proves this.
Research proves that that hiring a doula can shorten birthing by up to 25%, can lower the risk of a mom having a C-section by up to 50%, which is huge. Here in our society, we have there's a almost 34% C-section rate, meaning 1 in every 3 moms has major abdominal surgery and has her baby physically removed from her. She's removed from the birthing process, and anything that we can do to lower those statistics is powerful, in my opinion.
What are the benefits of hypnosis for babies or hypnosis childbirth?
Well, research shows that women who stay in a state of stress during their pregnancy are actually setting that as the norm for their babies. So if mom stays in a constant stressed out state, is always constantly worried about this and worried about that, she's basically setting that as the norm for her baby. So when her baby is born, the baby, if it reaches when it reaches a state of calm, it's going to look for its normal. So it's going to do everything it can to get back into that state of stress. Or the opposite is true as well. So women who stay in a state of relaxation or do those daily relaxation sessions, those daily hypnosis sessions that we incorporate into the Hypnobabies program, they're setting that as their baby's norm. And so once the babies are born, when a baby gets stressed out, it will do everything it can to get back into that state of calm, that state of relaxation. So
you're preparing the mother and the child for long-term benefits, not just in the birthing experience, but in life.
Yes, definitely.
Stephanie, it's really fascinating what you do. Thank you for joining us, you and your baby demonstration doll. And we wish you every success as you continue to help families experience the joy of birthing. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Paulette.
We'll be right back with more after these messages.
Up, college is hard. Down, those books are heavy.
My sport is football, but my passion is education.
Right up here.
So every year, I take promising high schoolers on a college tour
Getting it. Lights there, darts there.
to show them that higher education means a brighter future. My name is Nnamdi Asamoah. I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
You can be a reader, tutor, or mentor too. Take the pledge